Cost managed to do it a couple of years ago against Central Coast Mariners. We're down at #1 sports fields out there in the centre of Maitland. What an amazing night it was. So many of our Magpie family and also our Magpies out there showing the Mariners that we're not just players from out and about in northern New South Wales. So on behalf of the Magpies, it is a big welcome to Broadmeadow Magic here this evening, and also to our very own Magpie family. Thanks very much for your attendance this evening. We hope you will enjoy your night. As always, just a couple of ground announcements that we need to kick off. Obviously, no BYO alcohol is allowed into the ground. Any alcohol that is consumed needs to be purchased here.
As long as the wind stays down.
Yeah, I'll go sit down, I'll stand up. I can't sit down.
We ask that you conduct yourselves within the guidelines set out by Northern New South Wales. Absolutely support your favourite team and get right behind our Magpies tonight, but let's do so in a respectful manner.
How long does it take you to drive up? Not long?
We ask that you refrain from smoking.
How long does it take you to drive to Sydney from your place? When you leave?
Well, when I've got to go
away from our playing
tomorrow.
Yeah. I should have got you to drop me at the airport.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked Shell what the deal was. We're probably going to have to get there like 3 hours before, isn't it?
Yeah, what time you got to be there?
Sort of 9.
I don't mind getting dropped off the airport at 8 o'clock.
While we
I'll check
are
with Joel, and see what he wants to do.
getting our players finalised and getting their final instructions from their coaching staff, can we get all of our JBL players outside our players race?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
And
See what he wants to do.
we'll have a
He may
guard
want
line
to
with our
Yeah.
JBL.
What's he doing? Take the day off, is it?
No, he's going to go back up.
Oh, back up.
Yeah.
No, okay.
Magpies and also the Magic and to Cook Square Park. Alright, let's run through the team fixtures for this evening. In goal for the Broadmeadow Magic, we've got #1, Ben McNamara, #4, Tom Beecham, number 2, Aaron Tenasano, #3, James Harris.
Yeah, I'll give you the thumbs up.
#5,
Yep,
Jordan Jackson.
not a problem.
When you're ready for me, I'll
#6, Ryan Enter. #16, Bailey Wells. 7, Jacob Dow. #11, Jared Baker.
And I'll turn
Finally, #8, Jose Atade. On the bench this evening for the Magic men, backup clubman #40, Zach Bowling. #12, Will Ingram. #13, James Green. #9, James Stewart.
Testing 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Damien Sains, their coach, assisted by Jonathan Dennis, Luke Wrigley, Jim Preston and David Wilson. The Magpies this evening, classman #1, Paul Vince. #2, Ty Polson. 3, Will McFarlane.
You just test that and make sure it's okay.
Good evening and welcome to Cook Square Park here in Maitland on the lands of the Wanneroo people. Tonight it's all about the Australia Cup as Maitland FC host Broadmeadow Magic. They are 1 win away from the national stage and a spot in the round of 32. Both have been here before and both are desperate to get into that final 32 in the country. Let's get the thoughts of the Maitland coach, Michael Bulchers, with Chris Turner.
Thanks, Bart. Just down here with head coach Michael Bulch, Nick Webb, and my favourite, Alex Reid. Straight to you, Bulchy. Massive game tonight and big for the community. A big win tonight would be what the whole town's waiting for.
Oh, look, any sort of win would do tonight, mate, but yeah, it doesn't get any bigger. we were here 3 years ago. Club's only ever been there once, but what it did that night for the town and the support that came out, yeah, it's hopefully we can replicate it tonight.
We've got about 20 seconds, but Webby, mate, I might just get your thoughts. You'd probably echo those feelings to what it means to this community.
Yeah, mate, 100%. I'm a local mate guy, so I've seen what this can do for the town and everything, and the players as well. They're really pumped for it. So everyone's behind us, which is great.
And finally, my favourite, Reedy, Alex Reid. Don't need to get you off the park too quick because you know what it's all about. We'll walk and talk. In terms of the big ones, how do you approach a game like this?
You just got to take it like it's any other game, though. If we build it up too much, then we might get the better of us. But we've got a good strength, mental strength out there, and I think all the boys will pull together and get the chocolates tonight.
All the best to you and to Maitland. Back up to you, Bart.
Thanks, ET. Just quickly on the lineups for Maitland, they've got 3 remaining members of that side who played the Mariners in the round of 32 back in 2019. Zach Thomas was part of that side, Sean Pratt, and also James Thompson. James Thompson, their second top scorer this season behind Braden Crowley with 11 goals across all competitions. And for Damien Zane's side, he's got 3 changes from the team who beat Coff City a week and a half ago in round 6. Jordan Jackson is back from suspension, so he starts in the back line while Jake Harris and Bailey Wells also return. So that means Jets Academy product Will Ingram, Damon Green and striker Jaden Stewartson drop to the bench. So this is a matchup which is always full of tension, and we'll touch on that tonight. Magic and Maitland, they've played some big matches in recent history. So Magic get us underway as they and the Magpies chase a return to the Australia Cup round of 32. And Chris Turner, where do you feel this one tonight is going to be decided?
Well, welcome to everyone, and this game here, to answer your question specifically, has been a lot of talk about Thompson and Crowley up front for Maitland, those two being completely dominant in terms of goals scored for Maitland. Broadmeadow Magic have said they're not going to rely on individuals, and I totally agree, to nullify that attack. Where it's going to be is I think the real battle is going to be in the middle of the midfield on how they're going to get the ball to the front men for Maitland. And then for Magic, how they break through the defence. And don't forget the defence of Maitland that's particularly strong. So for me specifically, it's in the middle of the park, not at either end where the strikers are that's been talked about. Win the middle of the park and I think you'll win the game.
Well, it should be a fascinating contest. Remember that in recent finals matches, in recent knockout matches, it's been Maitland who have got the job done against Broadmeadow Magic in 2020 in that preliminary final. They won at Magic Park the year before. Of course, they produced that miracle last-minute equaliser to go through to the grand final. Here's a ball across, and an early corner here for Broadmeadow Magic. Their last success in a big match against Maitland was in 2018, where they just flew out of the blocks in the first leg here at Cook Square Park, and then were able to hold on in the second leg to go through to the grand final, which they won against Edgeworth. So plenty of history in recent years as this corner is dipping in towards that near post. Well defended by Maitland. Magic scored inside the opening minute when these two met back in April. They won the match 3-1. They were up 3-0 before Lockie Webb grabbed a goal back for Maitland. So that's what Damien Zane is looking for from his side tonight. James Thompson put under some pressure there by Tom Beecham, and now slipped through. Braden Crowley in behind. That is a dream start for the Magpies. Of course, it was going to be their leading goal scorer, their marksman, with his 23rd goal of the season across all competitions. And it's a horrible way to start for Broadmeadow.
Well, what a way to start for the Maitland Magpies. And you know what? I just said this game's going to be one in the middle of the park, but it was the strikers and it was Thompson. The weight and the timing of the run, particularly from Crowley, to get onto the end of that one was spectacular. And full credit to those two. It started deep, that's for sure. But the timing, the run of Crowley, gee, that's a class above that. He really did just get on to the end of a perfectly weighted pass and didn't make any mistake once he got in position. What a fantastic goal and finish from a quality striker. I think what was said earlier when we were walking in, Ben Homer's here today, must be a big game. Well, big game it is, because a goal like that was just scored on what everyone wants to play in the FA Cup. And now turned into FA Cup.
Australia
Cup. Australia Cup. And I'll get that right before the end of the night. Great finish.
Yeah, it was. And that was the concern for Broadmeadow Magic. You give that kind of space in behind. But this is equally the concern for Maitland. Magic have got some quality players in that final third. Jacob Dowse is in wonderful goal-scoring touch this season. 11 in 11 in the NPL. He's got a couple as well in the Australia Cup as well. Pedasano. He's dropping it back to Jordan Jackson, who, as I mentioned earlier, he's back from that suspension he served over a couple of matches, including the win over Coff City.
One thing is for sure that Broadmeadow, if they weren't awake 5 minutes ago, they are now, and they'll be looking to get a hold of the next one, that's for sure. And to any of the youngsters watching at home, I encourage you later on, go back and have a look at the timing and the angle of the run of Crowley. What he's done is he's kept his marker on the away side of the ball. In other words, Thompson had the ability to play in a channel that he'd created and started on his run and movement so that Thompson had something to hit. High quality football from those two, and something that is worth a second look. So if you're a midfielder and a striker, get back and have a look at that.
Well, it's just insane how many goals Braden Crowley has scored this season. 17 already in the NPL in 10 matches. And here he is again, hunting another one. He's already got one tonight, looking for two. He's going to try and turn provider. And it was well snuffed out by the Broadmeadow Magic defence. But they have been opened up on a couple of occasions early on tonight. It's a bit of a worry for Damien Zane. And now it's James Thompson making the run. Seeing Crowley in the middle and delivering towards him. Pedasano dealt with it. He's blundered. And Clissold's cross, just causing a few headaches for Magic.
I've got to say, Bart, this first 5 or so minutes, it's been a bit of flurry of speed, particularly in the defensive area of Broadmeadow Magic. You wouldn't be worried about that, but it's not a panic or clearance type panic that's going on. But Magic have got them under some pressure in their attacking third, and that's something that both coaches would be aware of right now. What needs to happen for Broadmeadow is, all right, just settle down, get your foot on the ball, start stroking around. They've got lots of really good ball players, and where they can, get in attacking motions, because they're particularly strong at the front end of the park as well.
Aaron Pedasano, in his first season with Broadmeadow Magic, is taking on Clissold, and the Kiwi did well. Crowley and Thompson, well, the goals have been piling up for Maitland in recent weeks. So you can add now to the 28 across their last 6, 29 in 7 now, with the potential to be more. These are their recent wins, CT. 4-0 against Valentine, 4-2 against Olympic, 5 goals against Cookshill. They did concede 4 though, and then 4-1 in most recent NPL match against Lakes, and 5-1 against Western, 6-0 against Lambton in the Cup in the last month.
Help him.
So Maitland have been doing the job in the attacking end of the field. Right now defending Jacob Dowse. McFarlane snatches it off the boot of Dowse, who is able to clear for Maitland. And then CT, of course, Maitland played against Adamstown on the weekend. That match is going to have to be replayed, much to the displeasure of the Maitland coaching staff. They were up 2-0 after half an hour. So that shows you just how deadly they've been since they've gone to this 5-3-2 formation with Thompson and Crowley.
That's for sure. And it doesn't matter who you're playing at this level, goals are important. That's why they're so disappointed. They've got 2 in the first half an hour, and that's good in anyone's book. They have to do it all again. It's a bit of a mental strain.
Well, that was what happened back in April in the NPL. Magic, through Jacob Dowse, scored in the first couple of minutes. They're up 2-0 inside the first 10. Jared Baker scored as well. Well, tonight it's gone the other way. Maitland looking for their second appearance in the Australia Cup round of 32. Knocked out by the Mariners 2-0 back in 2019. Baker just sneaking up the line. Well, I thought there was a foul, and Cal Stammer is going to come back for that, committed by former Magic player Charlie Cox. They've got 5 former Magic players in their squad tonight. Maitland FC. Charlie Cox, one of those. Pedisano, that's a lovely ball to him. His little dink over the top. Well, it may end favourably here for Broadmeadow. Harris tracks it down, dinks it back in towards a Pedisano. Zach Thomas was floored. Jacob Dowse getting himself about with McFarlane. The whistle goes the way of the home side. Another one of those former Magic men is the man in fluoro yellow tonight. Paul Bitts won the grand final with them back in 2018. Lured out of retirement, spent a couple of years not playing, and he's back now in the colours of the Magpies. He's launching it.
And Bitts has had a great season so far, and he's certainly been a big part of what Magic are doing, and great experience. Sorry for Maitland, I should say, and great experience for them. As they've got at the top end, they've got him doing his bit down the other end.
Gets a decent bit on the throw, and that strike has gone perilously close from Cox to making it 2-0.
And let's not forget about Dowse at the other end for Broadmeadow Magic. The other striker who's been left reasonably unspoken so far in this game. He's been in outstanding form for Magic.
Pedisano just gained his balance, but then Baker had it expertly stolen by Blunden. And now here's Paulson. Ryan Ensor got himself in the right place. So the captain, Jeremy Wilson. Ensor just has to plough it low, but only as far as Zach Thomas. And now pinched by Crowley. And he's off Braden Crowley, looking for a double. And that's a good save from Ben McNamara. Just his second game for Broadmeadow Magic. He's come back from the UK, where he's been playing for Malden and Tiptree. That's in the non-league Division 1. He did spend some time in the National League, CT, with Dagenham and Redbridge, and also Braintree Town and Nuneaton Town. So spent some time in the UK after was previously with the Newcastle Jets youth and Lake Macquarie as well. And Damien Zane, Broadmeadow Magic coach, just said he heard on the grapevine he was back in town, and of course they needed an experienced goalkeeper with Nate Cavalieri out for the season.
Very true, and why wouldn't you if he's around and get a hold of him for sure? And
look at this speed from Apetesano, burning past Clissold, good ball across. That is sending nerves through the Maitland bench. That kind of speed and delivery. He seems to have the young Kiwis measure Aaron Apetesano at the moment down that right edge for Magic.
we won't have the replay on this, but I would like to go back to that steal that Crowley just picked up a few minutes ago, and then the shot that he had on McNamara. I've got the feeling he just didn't clip it just right. He'd have to have hit that one out of the instep, straight out of the laces, and really drill one out. McNamara did well, but just that ability, pick up, pinch, turn, catch him on the back foot, and all of a sudden he's got a strike just down the edge of the box. And he is in exciting, electric form, Crowley.
Well, if they score that 2-0 up, we know it's one of the most dangerous leads in football, but that's difficult to fight back from.
We say
it's dangerous, but it's still difficult to pull back 2 goals.
There is no doubt. You can go onto any of the bench in front of us with Maitland and say, do you want a goal right now? And of course they do. Of course they do. They want the next goal. They're fighting for it. And Crowley, he wants 2, then he wants 3. That's what good strikers do. And don't forget Thompson at the other end. You mentioned Dowse. He's wanting to level things up.
Well, he's keen to douse the damage at the moment. Broadmeadow Magic are suffering because they are really being opened up defensively. Maybe they just have to fight fire with fire tonight. Could be a goal fest.
In case you missed it, Dowse. Leave the jokes to me, Bart.
Hopefully we get one. Hopefully
you can't
we get
see
one
him
tonight.
at home, but he's smiling at me like he thought he was really funny. But yeah, just leave him to me, Bart. Actually, well, second half, if we get a chance, I'm going to replay one of Brad Wheeler's from Edgeworth to you in the second half if we get that opportunity, because that was a ripper regarding Elmer Fudd and a wobbly.
I just hope we're not going to defame anyone, CT.
No, we won't defame anyone except for Elmer Fudd.
Here's the cross up towards Beecham. And Wells is hooking it back. Bitts got a touch, and that is a priceless touch from Paul Bitts. At the time, it looked as though it could be into the path of a red shirt, but it was away from all of them, and they are walking a tightrope as well defensively. Maitland, you just feel there are lots of goals tonight.
He just wanted to get something anywhere on that one just to deflect it out of the way of the oncoming attackers from Magic. And he's having a good season. We mentioned it before, but those touches are the ones that make a massive difference. Equal at one end for Crowley, but that one Bitts, top shelf.
Bailey Wells with that ball across, looking enterprising tonight. He's been good as well for Broadmeadow this year. 5 goals for the season in the NPL competition. Hasn't scored in the cup yet. Jeremy Wilson will track this down just beyond the outstretched boot of Jake Harris.
Well, while you've been away doing some other stuff and haven't had your Bar TV stuff on, Bart, Bailey Wells is someone we've spoken about extensively, and his ability to change a match, son of the great Ross Wells. He's really a player that's exciting, light on his feet, can change direction, has lots of potential to score goals.
Yeah, first
Keep your
season,
eye on him.
First season at Magic, as this ball is rather aimless across goal, but first season for Bailey Wells at Broadmeadow Magic after spending some time with the Jets Academy. There's a number in that particular boat. The Jets have released a number of players lately that have come back into the NPL, flooding the local NPL with some good talent, because we know a lot of them have been, well, in recent years, a lot of them haven't been playing in this competition because they've been playing in the NPL 4 in Sydney. So good to have them back. And there should be a whistle for Magic, and is.
We'll keep our eye on the conditions. We didn't mention it. I normally like to go over what's happened or what the pitch is like. It's looking pretty good on the screen as you're viewing it. Fraction bumpy, but overall very, very good, and particularly good for this time of the year. So pretty true roll. The guys who you watch the ball, this one will probably go on the deck. There we go, straight up in the air. But when it does get rolled on the deck, just watch the ball. It's running okay. Temperature's just dropped to 10 degrees, and there's barely a breath of air fluctuating between 1 and 3 kilometres per hour. So expect it to get down to about 9 to 8.
Jacob Dowse hunting it in the air, falls for a Pedisano, cuts it back, and the strike from Bailey Wells is over the bar. But Broadmeadow, they are knocking on Maitland's door.
Yeah, that they sure are, and Wellesley just would love to have gotten over that just to test bits a little further than what he did. Number 16, keep your eye on him. He is electric and has that ability, the combination between him and Dowse. He'll set Dowse up where he can, or Dowse will run out of some holes to create, run out of position to create a hole for Wells to run into. That's typical of what is a likely scenario, Maitland.
Did score against Maitland in April, Bailey Wells. So some good memories of this ground. Paulson, and that pass is cut out by Baker. Harris will get there just inside the line. Tatey had to be quick, and you can see by the intensity of the sprint from Clissold, he knew it came off. A Maitland player, the pass is picked off by Tatey. Good strength though from Charlie Cox in midfield there. Michael Balch just walks to the edge of his technical area, just sort of insinuating he wants his team just to calm things down. He feels like it's a little frantic at the moment.
And specifically the reason for that, he sees the Broadmeadow Magic side attacking towards his end with possession. He doesn't like what he's seeing, and right now he's giving some instruction out on the park because he wants to shift it. He wants to play in the middle, top third more often. That's what he wants, because that's where his strike power is. The moment it gets towards bits, the moment that they're under threat.
And what you may have seen there, Joel Clissold just getting some instructions from his coach. Maybe just a little bit concerned at the moment how easy a Pedisano is getting around him. So we'll keep a watch on that one as we go on tonight. There's Charlie Cox back to Clissold, who's here in Australia after playing most recently in New Zealand with Eastern Suburbs in the New Zealand Premiership.
And just in front of us is the bench of Maitland and the Magpies there, and Nick Webb and Michael Balch are still talking about their tactical moves that are going to occur and how they're shaping their side up to get themselves out of that defensive trouble that they've seen themselves in the last 5 to 10 minutes. And they'll relay that to the players.
And great for Michael Balch to have such fantastic assistant coaches. Gavin Wolfe, Nick Webb, vastly experienced. Gavin Wolfe here at Maitland winning a championship in the under-20s with Maitland. Here is it pinched and strike from range from Sean Pratt. Why not have a hit? Testing out Ben McNamara.
Yeah, there was an option on his right, and that's what Nick Webb was talking about. And you're right about Gavin Wolfe there as well. That trio form a very strong coaching staff.
Good win there again from Charles Cox. He's winning that battle with a Tatey who pitches it back right on cue. But he has been really strong in those 50-50 challenges, the former Magic midfielder. Sean Pratt asking too much of Clissold. Wilson sees the run of Ryan Ensor. Bailey Wells didn't take too much time to pick the pass, and in the end it didn't find its mark. And you can just hear Ben McNamara screaming out at his side, giving them plenty of encouragement. 33 years of age, Magic's new keeper. Really well done by Tom Beecham. The deflection almost dropped favourably for Jacob Dowse. Thompson drops for Crowley.
Magic just putting enough pressure on to force Maitland back and just restart again, which they're doing now comfortably and looking for options. That one cut out by Pedisano.
So Broadmeadow Magic, the most successful club in Northern New South Wales when it comes to qualifying for the round of 32. But Maitland are taking it to them tonight, and Braden Crowley was a whisker away from making it 2-0.
You'd have to think that was on target, because if he didn't get the last one out of his instep, that one was. He drilled it. McNamara just a touch, did enough. Gee, that's some good football right there. Receive, touch, in the direction, use the power. Already in motion, and what a great save from McNamara.
Well, he is red hot tonight, Crowley. Here is the corner. McNamara with the punch. And as you said, outstanding play from both players on that occasion. And now it's Jared Baker going down the other end. He's holding off the pass, waiting for a Pedisano. He cuts it back all the way across. It took time to get there, and it breaks down for Broadmeadow Magic. The question is, should have he played the pass to Jacob Dowse earlier, or was that the right option in feeding a Pedisano? Look how open this is for a cup match at this kind of level, at this stage of the competition. Beecham could go into the book here. He may be very lucky not to get a yellow card.
Look, now that we can answer your question. That ball comes into a Pedisano. My good buddy from Port Macquarie, what he should have done is taken a touch toward goal, drawn bits off his line if he can, and slot it. Cutting it back inside there, especially off the ground. He didn't particularly pick anyone out. No, it's not his favoured foot. Take a touch toward goals and slot it.
Well, this is a concern for Maitland. Braden Crowley down, because it didn't look to be much. It was just a shirt tug, and down he came. There's a number of questions for you to answer in this passage of play. That one there, but I felt in that situation that warranted a yellow card, CT. Crowley had space in behind there. What are your thoughts on that? You happy with Carl Stammer's decision to not hand out the yellow card, or do you feel like it was warranted there?
I'm going to go back to the word consistency. So if it happens down the other end with 5 minutes to go and the same thing happens, no problem. But in that situation, one off early in the park, I don't think this game has had too much malice in it by any stretch. In terms of the actual rules of what should happen, yeah, possibly, yes, a yellow card may have been warranted. But you know what? You don't want to stamp that on. You want the game to flow, and that's what's happening right now.
Well, 100%. And that is the toughest role of a referee, isn't it? To find the balance between ensuring the players aren't just flying in willy-nilly, making reckless challenges, and blowing your whistle and handing out cards when they are needed. It's the difference between a great referee and a good referee, that kind of line. And he's having a good game tonight, is Cal Stammer. But there's a long way to go, so it's a great night to be a part of as a referee as well, these kind of evenings. So I'm sure he's absolutely pumped to be out there as Harris is curling it high. Baker was rising, Bitts is fumbling, but he was able to get it under control.
Yeah, and the referee, sure, in the Australia Cup, got it right this time. He will be a bit nervous and want to keep things under control. So, all in all, back where that incident occurred, not too bad.
Well, it's a great match of football at the moment. It's really flowing, not too many stoppages. So, hope you're enjoying this wherever you're watching. Cookshill against Newcastle Olympic. That one's kicking off tonight at Newcastle Athletics Field, Fernley Dawes Athletics Centre in Newcastle, so you can catch that on Bar TV Sports as well. So that one's underway right now. Good movement in tight areas from Maitland, but Magic up to the task. McFarlane, unfortunately for him, hits the shin and beats him over the sideline.
Get across, Klaus! Last week, first 2 seconds, come on! Go on! Go across, yes! Everything!
Oh, Wells gets cleaned up from behind. Now, it looked to be an accident, but it would not have tickled on a cold night. And this is a concern. I thought he may have been hit in the head, maybe by a leg or purely accidental, but doesn't take the pain away. So Broadmeadow Magic, as I mentioned, most successful side in Northern New South Wales in terms of getting to the round of 32. They've done it on 5 occasions. Maitland just the once back in 2019. But I say just the once, but I also add the caveat that just 7 years ago, Maitland were playing in the 2nd division here in Northern New South Wales. So it's been an incredible rise for them to being one of the top clubs in the region now. It was always Western in the coalfields, in the top flight in Northern New South Wales, and now it is Maitland who has taken that mantle, and Western looking to battle to get that back. Maitland beat Western to get to this stage, smashed them 5-1 in round 6. As I mentioned before, Magic beating Coff City, made the trip up to Coffs Harbour. They checked out the Big Banana as well, and they came away with 3 points. I should say 3 goals, not 3 points, of course, because it's the Cup. So it was a good trip north for Broadmeadow.
I think they challenged that 7 years with 9 years.
Apetesano is just offside.
Going to challenge the 7 years for Maitland in second division and call it 9.
7 years ago.
9 years ago. So there we go with that. We are quickly looking that up.
Well, that just got a little bit awkward for McFarlane. So too Zach Thomas just skews off the boot. And here is another whistle. This is going the way of Magic.
Now it's starting to fire up. And Maitland just putting a little bit of muscle into this one on their home turf. Speaking of muscle, Graham Laws nearby, but he's got the vice president of the Maitland Blacks Union team here. So he's here to support the local soccer, as he calls it, which is fantastic. Federation Football, the soccer. So we may get a chat with him at half time if we're lucky. So if you're not making your cup of tea at half time, stick around and we'll see if we can get some details. Get he and Graham Law to join us.
Well, CT, Maitland came up into the NPL in 2015, which was 7 years ago for mine. We'll come back to that. Jared Baker, this is dipping, and Zach Thomas did well, and he's done exceptionally well because it's only going to be a throw, not a corner. CT ponders his next move.
Sure do. Now I'm on defence. Go home and check a couple of things.
Here's a run now of a Tatey. Slipping it in behind for Jake Harris, who just tracks it down. Harris beats his man. This is a brilliant run to the byline, but he's done too much. And there's a bit of push and shove on the fence. There's a bit of feeling, and we know why in this rivalry. There's some real frustration from Jake Harris being directed towards the Maitland players. Sean Pratt in there, Will McFarlane as well. James Thompson wasn't far away. So these are players that know this rivalry. Jake Harris maybe less so, but I'm sure the teammates that have been there, that have come here to Cook Square Park and been knocked over by Maitland in seasons gone by, in big matches, would have spoken about that. And of course, it's hard to call it revenge because those wins will always be in the book for Maitland, but it's important to try and create better memories, and that's what Aaron Apetesano is trying to do here. Another good ball across, which is swept away by Blunden. So Crowley got ahead to it, but he's not quite as influential since that knock he copped from Tom Beecham. Ensor wins it from Thompson. A really willing contest, this one. What a fabulous first half this has been. And deciding to have a go from range, it was dipping and swerving that strike from Bailey Wells, and Paul Bitts for a moment just looked to be unsure of where that ball was headed. And now the whistle goes for Maitland. So all of a sudden the temperature's risen, the whistle is being blown far more often in the last few minutes. And this is where the referee, Cal Stammer, is going to have to keep things under control. And it's James Thompson standing over this. 11 goals this season, 3 in 3 cup matches, and 8 in the NPL. This would be massive. He's not going to go direct. He's going to find Clissold, who's delivering the cross to the back post. Pratt was there. It spills out for the volley. And it's wide. But another chance there for Maitland against the recent run of play.
All you want to do is get that one on target. Great opportunity to just get a bit of top spin on it and make it dip.
You can just hear both sets of players pretty frustrated at the moment.
They are. They got in a bit of a scuffle early, and you can see the tension there. Certainly not the same sort of scuffle South Sydney and West Tigers 1986 round 2. Go and look that up. That's a lot of fun. That's a scuffle. Different event tonight, but the feeling's there, Bart.
Jacob Dowse in a foot race with McFarlane. And the former Jaffa gets there, finds safety in the sideline for the moment.
Will McFarlane was being chased hard there on the douse, and he really wanted to get there first to make sure he didn't have any part of it whatsoever.
Jolly drop! Good!
Pedisano, delivery again, asking some questions, but Maitland have dealt with it as they have so far tonight. On occasions, things have been a little more nerve-wracking for them. On that occasion, pretty simple.
Plan was to go and talk to Damien Zane on the way off at half-time. I think we might leave that one because he's got plenty of thinking to do, and have some discussion with the Maitland coaching staff, so stay with us for that. Get Michael Bolch's strategy for the second half as he's walking off the pitch.
Well, it's a fascinating one from the coach's perspective as well. We talk about the battle between these two teams, Maitland and Magic, and the history in years gone by. Well, what about the history between Bolch and Zane? Of course, previously they've been coaching head-to-head when Zane was at Edgeworth and Bolch was at Newcastle Olympic. They coached in that grand final in 2015. Damien Zane getting the job done on that occasion. And then in 2019, when Damien Zane was at Edgeworth, Michael Bolch at Maitland. And then when you look at their Australia Cup appearances, Damien Zane has qualified 5 times for the round of 32. Has got through to the round of 16 as well. And Michael Bolch the once back in 2019 with Maitland. So some real pedigree on the touchlines. So not just a battle between the 11 men on the pitch at the moment. Plenty of thinking going on both benches as it bounces for Crowley. James Thompson finding space, and that was headed for the top corner, but it struck the head. And that could be a goal-saving block from Ryan Ensor. That is ginormous right before half-time, and he is somewhat groggy as well.
That was a no-look pass from Crowley, so he's looked away past Thompson, and that Thompson shot, as you say, Bart, if it wasn't top corner, it was probably not far off it, headed in the right direction, pardon the pun, and whoever that is on the ground can't quite pick that up.
Yeah, it's Ryan Ensor.
Copped a beauty right in the noggin. So Ensor's parents up in Brisbane. We'll getting a close-up for you just in a moment to look on your little baby, but we're sure he's okay.
But that's the kind of player he is, CT. Body on the line. Some players duck out of the way on a cold night. He didn't. Put his head right in the way, and yeah, it's going to sting. But I tell you what would have stung, being 2-0 down at half-time.
There's an intentional pause there because that was another attempted joke by Ben Homer. Still firing blanks, but got the restart from Bits. Oh, but recomposes.
So Atadi picks out a Pedisano. Former Edgeworth player, Jose Atadi. His last goal came in the grand final to win it for Edgeworth against Maitland back in 2020. Oh, there's some pressure. Jared Baker comes across on Clissold.
Got to be a card ref.
And that's the Maitland bench. You can hear Nick Webb there. That's his opinion.
Just while we're in a static type position, just have a look at how tight all of the players are right now. And this is intentional from Magic. bring it in nice and tight because it makes it harder to play. And what Maitland want to do is have an out. Sorry, Bart.
Well, I was just going to say Maitland assistant coach Nick Webb. Fortunately for him, the camera wasn't on him, but he very nearly tripped over the esky.
It would have been entertaining in itself.
Well, the good thing is the ice wouldn't be far away if he was injured, but I don't think he'd want that tonight. So that Braden Crowley goal, the difference at the moment between Maitland and Broadmeadow. Remembering that it's been the Magpies who have had the wood over Magic in these big knockout matches in the recent past. 2019 and 2020 final series. Maitland getting through to the grand final. It was the semi-final in 2018 when it was played over 2 legs, and then the preliminary final in 2019.
Coffee?
So Magic trying to ensure that it just remains at the 1 for the moment. Maybe they can try and snatch a late equaliser here. Apetesano has been dynamic in this first half, finding Harris. Can hit a rocket of a strike. He's just deciding eventually against going for it. Here is a rocket. That time from Atadi and straight into the arms of Paul Bitts.
And a great strike there too, and again Bitts being where he has to be. Just like the first one before half time, but
yeah, they certainly would. Apetesano again with the ball at his feet. Baker tried to roll in Jacob Dowse, who's just trying to sneak in down this right-hand edge for Broadmeadow. He's scored some important goals for Magic in the past. And that was what impressed Damien Zane, the big goals that Jacob Dowse had scored in clashes for Magic against his old side, Edgeworth. Bailey Wells putting the pressure on Zach Thomas. So maybe a chance for the man we just spoke about, Jacob Dowse.
And while you're in injury time, this is where you want to get the ball straight in the box, literally seconds to go, and just get one more attempt on Bitts. But
he has had some nervy moments in this first half. The Maitland goalkeeper, former Magic keeper as well, Ryan Ensor. And Baker, his touch just let him down, and Charlie Cox, who has been one of the best in this first half, pinches it in midfield. Maitland coaching staff would have to be happy with his work tonight. His work rate, his strength, important wins in midfield. Here he is after Baker. And that pass to no one in a red shirt. Cox quickly trying to release Crowley. Tom Beecham just shadowing the goal scorer tonight. Back to Blunden. Paulson and Blunden. Down he goes. Crowley. Cal Stammer allowing play to go on. Didn't look to be too much in that. And now the captain, Jeremy Wilson, told to go straight towards Dowse. That's exactly what he does. The back heel towards Wells. Wasn't a bad option. But Maitland, in the form of Zach Thomas, there to cover. So the referee, Cal Stammer, having a look at his watch. Not too long left in this first half, round 7 of the Australia Cup, as Zach Thomas bursts forward from the centre of defence momentarily. Clissold ran into a dead end in the form of a Pedisano. So it's all smiles for the Magpies at the end of the first 45 minutes. They are just a half away from a second appearance in the Australia Cup round of 32. And what a first half it was from the Magpies. Braden Crowley scoring early. Magic had their opportunities. They weren't able to make them count. Half-time, it's Maitland FC 1, Broadmeadow Magic 0. Let's get some thoughts from CT.
Thanks, Bart. Going to walk and talk with Bolchi. He did say that he just wanted to go and have a little cuddle with the referee first, and then we'll have a chat to him as well. And here he comes now. And so apologies walking back to you guys, but we'll walk and talk because we're going to slow him down. Bolchi, look, 1-0 up. It's not enough just yet, for sure.
Oh, look, with the score at the moment, I mean, it's the quickest game I've seen all year from both sides.
We might have to leave that interview there. The microphone just cracking out a little bit. So what was really interesting there, you heard from Michael Bulch, was the fact that it is the fastest match he's seen all season, and it certainly feels that way from up here. The intensity has been superb in this clash between Maitland FC and Broadmeadow Magic. Braden Crowley, his goal, the former Melbourne City and Newcastle Jet in the A-Leagues. It is his goal, the difference at halftime. We are going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with all the second half action in about 10 minutes. So Maitland, 1 half away from a spot in the Australia Cup round of 32. We'll catch you soon. Welcome back to Cook Square Park. Maitland through Braden Crowley leading this round 7 clash in the Australia Cup as both sides look to make it through to the round of 32. Let's hear from CT. He's with Damien Zane. Or maybe not. We'll have to leave CT there. Having some issues with his mic tonight. So Maitland to kick us off via the goal scorer Braden Crowley. A little bit of a fake start from Crowley. And we are underway now. Maitland just a half away from joining a number of quality sides across the country in the Australia Cup round of 32, including 10 from the A-League men's competition. The champions of the Cup, Melbourne Victory, local A-League club, the Newcastle Jets, and the like. So that is the prize on offer for the winner of this one. And Broadmeadow Magic looking for a good start to this second half. There is no whistle from the referee. It's just a point to the corner flag. So Magic keen to start this second half like Maitland started the first, with a goal inside the first few minutes. And we heard from Maitland coach Michael Balch about how high in quality this contest is. How's the delivery from the set piece? It's dipping in, misses a few heads. Didn't beat Bailey Wells, who's dropping it back in. And Maitland able to deal with it initially. Harris back in again. There's Wilson on that occasion, the captain, getting up in the eye line of Paul Bipps, who's just unloading down the ground. Pedisano, who was busy down the right in the first half. Wilson, maybe unintentional, the back heel. He earns the whistle. Ryan Ensor put his head on the line to stop James Thompson. Strike in the first half. There's a deflection. Paul Bitts is out. Well, if this is going to be the story of the second half, it is going to be a real nerve-wracking one from a Maitland perspective. Atadi, Baker leading the chase in a red shirt, but it's McFarlane who's there for Maitland. And at times in the first half, it may have been unconventional, and it may not have been exactly the way they would have planned, but they were able to keep Broadmeadow at bay. Can they do so for a second 45 minutes? And it wouldn't be a trip to Maitland without the sound of the coal train. We are in the coalfields in the Hunter Valley. Maitland representing this part of the region with distinction. And they had a big crowd at Maitland Sports Ground a few years ago when they took on the Mariners. Jacob Dowse cut down, but the ball was won according to the referee, Cal Stammer.
Got to say, Bart, the trains do sound particularly smooth on the track that's running at the moment, so great job to the Australian Rail Track Corporation keeping Australia moving, doing a wonderful job. Just, had a message through that over at Cooks Hill. That matchup, same game over there against Newcastle Olympic. Olympic are now 1 up. So it's 1-0 Newcastle Olympic over the home side. Cooks Hill. Game kicked off 30 minutes after this one.
So you've got plenty of football to watch tonight after this one's complete. Well, provided it doesn't go into extra time, of course. You'll be able to watch that one. James Thompson, up comes the flag. So fortune for Broadmeadow Magic. But just on that one, so Olympic, of course, looking to make it through in back-to-back years. Some would say the draw has been kind to them this season. Some would say that's unfair. Well, I think it has been kind to them, CT. When you look at these two sides who are in the top 3 in the NPL this season, they meeting each other at this stage is a really tough assignment.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is we've had a lot of wet weather. Do teams want to play extra games? Yes and no. These two teams both really want it. So do the other two sides. Olympic, for sure, it is an easier run.
Well, they did knock off Charlestown, to be fair. They did knock off Charlestown, so
true.
If Graham Law's watching, I'm sorry for bringing that up.
He's watching, don't worry about that.
Little touch from Crowley. Paulson. And that shot deflects into the arms of Ben McNamara.
Yeah.
Apologies for the audio at half-time. It appears that the microphone may have been off, which is another rookie area of mine there, but
yes. Well, that's all right, CT. We forgive you.
And then here's another good one for you while we're down that path. Northern Football CEO David Eland is joining us right now, or has been in tune for the entire match. Says he's going to send me an invoice for that shameless plug for ARTC, which is my employer. But I don't know how you invoice one of your volunteers, but you wrap your head around that and tell me how that works. You're good at invoicing, but better than me, obviously. How do you invoice? All good. I love it.
I'm not going to touch that one, CT.
No, touch away as a volunteer, mate. There's plenty of scope. Did I say volunteer enough?
Wilson.
Tell you what, he's no volunteer. He's putting in a full shift tonight for Magic, and this man Crowley would love to peg another one away.
Atadi. Well found was Jake Harris, who's swivelling, and Douse was just off balance, moving the other way. Pedisano goes down with a mega groan. Wasn't followed by a whistle though. Tom Beecham striding forward into some open space. The former Adamstown and Newcastle Jets Academy player, now with Broadmeadow Magic, another one of those youngsters in his first year with the club. You can see the lung-busting run down the right from Apetesano. Not rewarded by Baker, and he is going to get a free kick, though, for his troubles. Sean Pratt bringing the youngster down. And now Broadmeadow, with a goalkeeper who has looked a little bit suspect when the ball's been moving and dipping from this kind of range. Well, they've got to be switched on here, don't they, for the rebound.
Just quickly over at that other game at Cooks Hill, Newcastle Olympic are up 2-0 right now, and this could be an equaliser right here. Broadmeadow Magic can get something on target. McNamara getting his wall set. It's where you pick a corner.
Baker getting his wand set, and that wand, well, it was on target, but it was straight at Paul Bitts.
Or it was Paul Bitts, and yeah, it's straight down his throat, literally, and no trouble for him at all.
It's well won in the air by Wilson, because that ball was moving all over the place. So the mist has just been descending tonight in Maitland. If you needed a little bit more of a setting for this Australia Cup contest. And how good is it this year? The round of 32, it's going to be an open draw. So none of this regional setup like it was last year, where the Queensland clubs played the Queensland clubs, Victoria, etc., for the opening round. So it's all open. The winner of this one could be off to Perth or down to Tasmania. You never know what could happen with that draw, which is going to take place next Wednesday night. You can catch that on 10 Play and also on the MyFootball YouTube channel, on Facebook as well.
Yeah, and great viewing coming up. We've got a little bit of a problem with Crowley on his calf muscle there, and he's had problems with that in recent weeks. McNamara just deals with a tricky one.
It would be somewhat concerning for Maitland. He has got the goal, but they would be very much keen for more. Ryan Ensor just placed forward by Ty Cousins. But at the moment it's Broadmeadow that are asking all the questions. Maitland, though, have answered them thus far. Paulson and Cousins. Crowley just not being allowed space through the middle of the park, where he was for that split second in the opening 3 minutes. And that's why it's Maitland leading at 1-0. Wells's pass off McFarlane. It'll spill eventually for Jeremy Wilson. Along the turf from Atadi, out towards Apetesano. Wilson. Ryan Ensor off the chest of Dowse and just hooked clear again. So repelling Magic. Maitland. This ball is dangerous. Very, very dangerous. The referee asked to make a decision, and that is no penalty, as much as Broadmeadow were desperate for it. Meanwhile, at the other end, Maitland looking for a second. James Thompson has his run snuffed out by Jordan Jackson. It's Tom Beecham striding forward from the back into the box. Just dropping back now into his position. Baker. not for the first time tonight. He goes flying to the ground acrobatically, and we are going to see our first card of the night go the way of Charlie Cox.
And this is likely a substitution for Crowley. Not convinced on that right calf muscle.
Well,
Bolch won't want to take him off, and he's walking like he's free, but in back play he hasn't been, so maybe he'll go somewhere else and leave Crowley where he's at.
So I was just trying to listen there. Michael Bolch, he wants Ty Paulson to play in the 8 role. So Sean Pratt, his night is done. He is strapped up though on that left knee.
Sure is, and a couple of quality strikes there from Pratt during the game, and he was an intentional shout out so he could hear us. But no, a couple of great strikes from him. And
well, hasn't he been fantastic for Maitland? Of course, signed by Michael Bolch to Newcastle Olympic when he was there from the Mariners youth. And he's scored some significant goals for the Magpies, especially in national competitions back a few years ago when they played the boys from Tasmania, Devonport. So here comes another corner for Magic. Paul Bitts and his defence were able to marshal for the last one. This time Baker along the turf. It's not going to trouble Maitland. They've got a throw. So the other watch to keep an eye on is Braden Crowley. How long does he remain out there if he's got that calf issue? And Maitland need him because they have got midweek matches for the next 2 weeks after this at least. And that's, of course, if there's no more washouts, because they'll just keep rolling on. Ryan Ensort just beat Paulson for pace there. Jake Harris really getting forward, the right wing back.
Follow him, Flynn. Follow him, Flynn.
And Wells tried to measure it over the head of McFarlane, but he got back. Cousins. So this will test out the calf of Crowley.
seems to be moving okay on that, which is good signs for Maitland, but just don't want him to overstep it, because as you do that, it's now dropped to 8 degrees, so every time you're not moving well and you're not fully supple, it's an opportunity to do some further damage, and we know that he's got that problem, and you can see now he's just kind of limping a little bit on it. He doesn't want to go off because he knows how important this one is.
We've got a foul throw, have we? Well, can you believe that? There's one for the collector's item. A few of the locals going past CT, getting excited about this match tonight. Leaning on the horn, why wouldn't you? It's the top of town here, Cook Square Park. And we are very pleased it is not windy, because it gets pretty chilly. It's a beautiful night, 8 degrees at the moment, lovely for football. And the news for Magic is Damon Green has run out there Jared Baker off. Did score an important goal for Magic in that derby with Olympic earlier this month, Damon Green, in that 1-1 draw. Braden Crowley tiptoeing down the byline, and it is going to be a goal kick. And Damon Green did score the penalty a number of years ago to send Magic through to the grand final. I should say Edgeworth through to the grand final against Magic back in 2020 as a youngster.
He's dynamic.
Well, he is young now, but you think of that 3 years ago now.
Back here, Enzo.
Yeah, one of my favourites for sure. I love the way he plays. He's I hate to say it, but he's Maradona-like in the way that he runs, and he I don't want to put any mockers on him, but the way that he moves and his low centre of gravity, you don't know what he's going to do, and certainly has the hand of God. Don't worry about that. Would come into play if it had to. He's got that in his game, but...
Did you just compare someone to Maradona?
Yep. Go and overlap them. You can do that with golf swings, apparently. You could overlap yours with a professional golfer and they'd look nothing like each other. Overlap him and his running and the way that he turns and moves, they'd be fairly similar. It might be a free Mars bar at the Toronto Golf Club next time I'm over there, Bart.
I was going to say for a minute, well, if we're using comparisons, CT parties like Maradona. No, maybe not.
No,
like he used to. Here's the ball across, gobbled up by Paul Bitts.
Yeah, those days are gone, Bart. Noticed you had the doof music in my car on the way up here this evening.
Ryan Edsall, that's a strong win, shoulder to shoulder with Crowley, but again, this Maitland defence just deflecting everything away at the moment. Jacob Dowse just gets a bit challenging now for Will McFarlane, who's just nipping there at the ankles, concedes the corner. But again, Maitland at the moment looking comfortable. Now, I'm sure the Maitland coaching staff don't want to hear that, and the Maitland fans are saying, please don't say that, but at the moment it's looking that way. But it only takes one moment. This is drilled in at the near post. Again, they do a good job, the Magpies. So it's up to Damien Zane, the Magic coach, the specialist in getting sides through to the round of 32. Edgeworth 4 times, Magic once.
Half a step closer.
It is his job now to try and find some kind of solution, find a way through this resolute Maitland backline, who have conceded some goals lately. 8 in their last 5. And that strike was one which has hurt the back of Braden Crowley.
All right, mate. They've got 2 balls on anyhow, so they've got to stop.
You can tell there's tension in the house when the opposition fans are annoyed with the service from the ball kid, CT. Magic fans a little frustrated by how slowly the delivery was from the Magpies ball kid. We've seen plenty of ball kid drama down the years. Saw one get tackled in an FA Cup match, I'm pretty sure, laid on.
And then there was the other incident at Valentine where we thought that kid was dead. There was no movement. I said, I've got to go. And you're like, yep, he's gone. This movement was made. He got up.
Yeah, we have had some interesting ones down the years. A Pedisano. So the match at this point just in a little bit of a lull as Magic try to find an equaliser, and Maitland just able to defend so well thus far. And Braden Crowley, he's done terrifically well there. Jackson and Crowley, together they come. And you can see what Jackson was trying to do there. He was trying to get up in the manner he usually would, but of course Crowley was there and he thought, I might just stick a little knee in here. Crowley was having none of it. He gave him a little bit of a tug. And play on.
Yeah, one of the big things there for Jackson is he's got his team now comfortably behind the ball and they can set up, slow the play down. At that moment, it's Crowley on charge, quick movement, and you don't want that to happen. So Magic is set, but not out of danger.
Well, the second, and it becomes a mountain to climb for Magic. Not an insurpassable one, but still much more difficult. Crowley. And it cracked off the boot of Cox. It was wobbling in the air. Ben McNamara stationed himself under it, looking to release quickly. Was there a handball there from Ty Paulson? Magic have some numbers forward here. And Harris just tried to be maybe a little too cute. So this duo, Thompson and Crowley, they read each other so well. Thompson feeding Crowley on that occasion. He's done well to hold the ball up amid the pressure of two Magic players. Bit of breakdancing from Crowley, and he earns a corner. That is absolutely superb, and now there's a conversation between Beecham and Crowley. And I think they were just asking where they're heading back for dinner tonight.
Yeah, I doubt it. It's get it back in there. There's a corner coming your way and you better be prepared. That's about that conversation. Maitland on the attack again.
Good little passage here for the Magpies.
And Crowley just milking a corner. Two of them.
And it's going to fall at the back post for a strike from Thompson, which goes well over. He knows he gets that on target. That's going to be hard to stop for McNamara. So here's an attacking move, and it's Jake Harris off. Will Ingram is on. Part of the Jets Academy before this season, moving to Magic. Hasn't scored for Broadmeadow yet. Not in the Cup or in the NPL. What kind of impact can he have? And just to let you know, this is one of the vagaries of the Cup. Hopefully someone can sort this out come the round of 32. But both sides can only name 5 players on the bench. As Zach Thomas with a slip. Ingram profits from that. And then Wilson off the head of Blunden. Thompson dropping back a little deeper. Asked to be strong is the substitute Flynn Goodman, who is now on the park for Maitland, of course. Hasn't had too many touches since he's come on for Sean Pratt. Just on that substitution rule, while we have a chance, you're allowed a maximum of 5 in the 90 minutes. There's only 5 players allowed on the bench, and one of those is a goalkeeper. Now, surely that can be expanded. In the NPL, you're allowed more. Think about 7. And it's a strange one. How can you be allowed 5 players on the bench and maximum of 5 changes? It's a bit of a perplexing one, and hopefully that can be sorted so it makes more sense, because of course no side's going to use up all 5 of their changes unless of course the keeper gets sent off, because you're not going to sub on a goalkeeper. As Crowley goes sliding in on Jackson, those two going at it. And Cal Stammer just having a little chat to Braden Crowley, and I'll let you respond, CT.
Yeah, no, I agree with that for sure. And when you've got a lot of talent within your group, you want to be able to pick and select on what the game's doing at the time. So if you've got more people there and available, then depending on what they're doing, it just gives the coach more options.
So in the meantime, while that goal kick was taking place, or just before, Jaden Stewartson has run out there in place of Bailey Wells. Now, he has scored a couple of hat-tricks this season. One in round 4 against Mayfield in that 17-0 win. But then he also scored one against Coff City to get them to this stage. 3 goals in the NPL as well. And he scored a bucket load in reserve grade. In the last 3 seasons, 41 goals in 35 reserve grade matches. So he wants to carry that into this one. This bloke on the ball has scored 23 goals this season in 13 matches. And he's trying to turn provider as that was delivered towards Flynn Goodman.
Yeah, well, Stewartson is electric, and any spark that's flying off him, Zane would love to be going into the back of the net, because as the game goes on, you can see Magic just getting a little more desperate. Zenzor just gets brought himself over there, and Magic back on the attack with Thompson.
Goodman it was. Flynn Goodman, the former Adamstown player, just ran into a cul-de-sac in the form of 3 Magic players. But they are running out of time, Broadmeadow. Damon Green was putting everything into that chase. And I can tell you, at Cooks Hill, Olympic leading against the Cookers. Cooks Hill by 2 goals to 0. Inside the final 15 minutes of this one at Cook Square Park. This is the time down the years where Damien Zane's sides have really come to the fore. Whether it's been at Edgeworth, whether it's been at Broadmeadow Magic, late goals have been the order of the day. Ensor with the throw to Stewartson. Atati saw the acres of space in front of a Pedisano. He took his time, floated it in. Bitts got there. An acrobatic attempt. You saw Jacob Dowse a little further back, and if he was able to be fed there, maybe it would have been 1-1. And instead, it was Will Ingram who just took on the bicycle, it looked, from this kind of range.
Look, I'm a big fan of Bitts, but for me, right there, he just needs to get his fist out and put it through that ball and clear it into next week, because there was so much danger. That's a great header there from Wilson.
Well, the Hunter Valley, they'd get right behind Maitland again if they were to make it through to the round of 32 like they did in 2019. Big crowd at Maitland Sports Ground. Less than 15 minutes away plus stoppage time. They have given away a free kick. Cal Stammer allowing play to go on. Pedisano getting on the outside.
Aaron Pedisano has had a great game tonight, done all the things that his coach would want, doing them simply. He's kept possession, he's been able to beat players, he's been able to deliver in the box. He had one opportunity which he probably should have put on goals like this man may do.
Real warning for Magic. Jackson gets in there, wins the ball. You feel there's going to be more of that from Broadmeadow. as Maitland look to go on the counter, and maybe Braden Crowley's evening is done. The question is, will Magic put the ball out? Because it's a couple of times a Maitland player has gone down. You sense at the moment they won't, but it is going to cross the sideline. So it looks as though that will be the end of the section for Braden Crowley. Maybe not. He's really badly cramping up, it would seem, or having issues with the calf. Seems to be cramp. He's going to have a bit of pickle juice. And he's going to rub...
Sorry, a bit of what?
Pickle juice helps with cramp. As his header into the lap of Bits. Haven't you heard of pickle juice?
I've been around for a while, Bart, but
You've never seen the pickle juice brought out?
Seen the magic water, and that's about it. That's legal anyway.
He looks to be good to go again. Well, it must be an injury for Crowley that isn't going to have too much of an impact on him moving forward. I assume that's the case, because you wouldn't be sticking him out there at this point with matches coming up if he's going to be missing multiple weeks. Ryan Ensor. Ingram returns it to Ensor. Boot up there from Thompson, Crowley, and Goodman. Jeremy Wilson just gliding into some space down the left. So it's Ensor and Stewardson, two of Magic's main goal scorers this season. Dowse with 11, Stewardson 9 across all competitions. Final 10 minutes now at Cook Square Park. Are Maitland going to get the job done against Magic in a big knockout match again, as they did in 2019 and 2020? At the moment, they're looking good to do so. Neat work from Damon Green. Plays the 1-2, has it back at his feet. Did well to retain his footing. And while it's heating up on the pitch, CT's putting his gloves on. It is getting chilly off it here at Cook Square. It's getting into the single digits, getting down around 7 degrees.
Spot on, Bart, 7 degrees.
And Jordan Jackson is taking on Thompson.
And there might be 10 minutes out here, but that's a long time in a game of football, plus stoppage.
Braden Crowley, is he offside? Yes, he is. Maitland coaching staff don't agree with the decision. Ryan Ensor weaving left and right. Stewardson just holding the ball up beautifully. Apedesano, the delivery not there from Aaron Apedesano. Is it there from Atadi? It's up there towards Stewardson. Now Will Ingram. Wilson. And every clearance cheered by the Maitland bench and the Maitland fans in tonight at Cook Square.
Yeah, big clearance, but the reality is it just lets Magic reset and open the thing back up, open the game back up, I should say. And
I thought you were trying to say the tin. Get the can opener out.
No,
well, it's blunt at the moment from a Magic perspective.
Oh, shoot, that's your third attempt tonight.
No, it's a fair point. Where, if you're Damien Zane, where are you finding this equaliser from? Because at the moment, they need to throw away the can opener. They've got to find something else, CT.
Have a look at his two men left and right. They're both wide, and that is the key to open this tin, not your tin opener, because what that'll do is it'll stretch them left and right and create some opportunities through the middle, and that's seemingly where they want to go.
Braden Crowley, the goal scorer inside the opening 3 minutes. That's how long ago it was. At that point of the game, it seemed like there were going to be goals aplenty. He beats a tired Jackson and feeds it back, and that is a massive save from McNamara. He keeps Broadmeadow Magic in it as Cox had that strike from the edge of the box.
Great anticipation from McNamara. He had to dive the right way. He did that and then got both hands on it. Didn't spill. Big moment in the game.
You just felt the net was going to rustle. It didn't. And Magic, they now walking a tightrope in these final minutes. Thompson and Goodman, won by Wilson. Ryan Ensor feeds Will Ingram, who's in some space here down the left. Just so well set up, Maitland, just providing no options. And you can hear the call from Michael Balch, the Maitland coach, right on the edge of his technical area, wanting the discipline from his defence.
And what he's talking about there is he's wanting his players to maintain the defensive shape. Don't get dragged out of position. If you get dragged out of position, creates a hole, allows Magic to come in. That's what he's talking about. Magic just holding possession, just happy to push it around for the moment until something does hopefully create for them. Here they go.
Green, and the ball has crossed the sideline. It's a really frustrating night for Broadmeadow Magic.
Will, Zach.
4.5 minutes of regular time, plus additional time. Wouldn't expect any more than 2 to 3 minutes. We've had a couple of stops. Magic desperate to maintain some possession here.
Maitland too as well. Well, they know they can keep possession for a bit longer in these dying moments. They're going to be closer and closer to another qualification for the round of 32 in the Australia Cup. Well, it was Maitland's miracle about 3 years ago. Could Magic produce one of their own here tonight? Matt Thompson scored in the last seconds of that second leg to send Maitland to their first grand final in the NPL. Could Maitland be on the receiving end tonight? Or is it their night to go through again?
All the talk about Thompson and Crowley, and it happened so early. They've been threatening and they've had their opportunities, and Maitland have created some good ones. But it was that early opportunity from Crowley that was converted. Great ball from Thompson, slid through. Crowley got his man on the opposite side of the ball and was able to turn, go to goal and slot it. And that's been literally the difference. Magic got a few minutes left to go. About 3 in regular time, 2.5 to 3. Now it's possibly 3 to 4 minutes extra time.
Well, what's going to be gut-wrenching for Magic is that one lapse that's going to give them a sleepless night if they lose this one. One lapse and it costs you and you're out of the cup, and that is the kind of margins that these cup matches have. You go to sleep for one moment and you can be punished. And that's what's happened tonight. A quality player in Braden Crowley finishing it off. Here is the potential for a chance for Magic. Will Ingram taking on Cousins, but it was Ty Cousins, the former Magic man, who was up to the task once again. Wilson.
Well, two things there. The game's not over, and the second thing is it was class from Thompson and Crowley, and not necessarily a lapse. It was those two guys that came together early when everyone's fresh and did the damage. Great ball in and great finish. That's what it was all about. And at any level, that one's going to be hard to stop.
The ball will just roll in front of Ingram. They've got to throw Broadmeadow.
Jimmy on the J! Jimmy on the J! Charles! Charles!
Into stoppage time in this cup clash. It's all or nothing for Broadmeadow. Paul Bitts, the former Magic goalkeeper. He's done the job in goals so far tonight for Maitland. He's had some hairy moments, but he's able to keep a clean sheet to this point. Pedasano trying to put in one last effort. Is there one last chance that Magic can create? There haven't been too many golden ones in this second half. Probably had better opportunities in the first, to be fair. And Ingram's delivering. The header away is a good one from McFarlane. But they're going to get to recalibrate and go again here, Magic. And Paul Bitts got a punch to it. Free kick for Maitland. Everyone was wondering where that decision was going. It's the way of the home fans, and the home side incredibly relieved with that decision. So they're not far away now, Maitland. For 2 minutes, we're hearing from the Maitland bench from here, just having a chat to the assistant referee. That is how long Broadmeadow have got to find an equaliser. And Damon Green, he's cut down. It's a penalty for Broadmeadow Magic in stoppage time. Can you believe it? It was Maitland's miracle 3 years ago. They scored in the last minute to equalise in the semi-final. Now it's Broadmeadow who have that opportunity in the final minute of this cup clash. Utter drama, but they still have to convert it. And there's a lot of pressure here. A lot of pressure on Damon Green. But remember what he did a few years ago for Edgeworth in the penalty shootout against Magic. He converted, and he does it again here. Broadmeadow are level. And this one is probably heading into extra time.
Well, it was the Maradona-like manoeuvre that's turned and pace, driven towards goal. Maitland brought him down in the box, and then what a finish. Gave Bitts absolutely no chance with that quality finish. And Green turns hero in what is likely to go to extra time, and what a time to do it. Only a minute or so to go, but
yeah, what a player. 2020 scored that winning penalty for Edgeworth to knock out Magic in that, well, it was actually to beat them to go through to the grand final in that major semi back in 2020. And now on the cup stage, a similar kind of circumstance, and he locks this one up on a night where you'd probably say to this point Magic have been second best.
What I can say is the bench
Well, hang on.
disappointed.
Hang on! They've stolen it! Can you believe it? 2 goals in stoppage time. This is Magic's miracle.
Well, Magic miracle it is, because they have just gone absolutely nuts down on the sideline. And why wouldn't they? And as you said, Bart, probably against the run of what should be and what should have been a Maitland victory, Broadmeadow Magic have just gone crazy.
Well, they talk about cup magic and the magic of the cup. Well, that is it right there from the team of that name, Broadmeadow Magic, with 2 stoppage time goals. And again, a Damien Zane coach team comes alive in the final minutes. And all of a sudden it's Maitland who are desperate for an equaliser.
Well, there it is, Bart. Absolute craziness down on the park. We'll see if we can get a hold of Coach Damien Zane right now. I'm sure he'll be a little bit happier to talk.
So the magicians of the Australia Cup reached the round of 32 for a 6th time. Damien Zane and his team have pulled off an absolute cup heist. Devastation for the Magpies. They are out. They only went to sleep for a few minutes. The last few minutes, they had 1 foot in the round of 32. But Will Ingram and Damon Green, the 2 youngsters, have stood up when it mattered most. And full-time at Maitland, Maitland FC 1, Broadmeadow Magic 2.
Yeah, just look, we need to be quick because Zane's super keen to get over with your teammates. Well, I shouldn't even say teammates, they are. Who cares at this point? It's a group effort, mate. What a win right at the death.
Yeah, look, I think I did say to you the next goal will win the game. I didn't think it was going to play out like that. I thought we huffed and puffed but didn't quite get there, but I think a draw was probably a fair result. But lovely for Will to get his first goal like that. That was fantastic.
Oh, just turn to the camera. I've got to show everyone your smile. This guy is absolutely beaming, and so you should be. What does it mean to the club? You're really representing Newcastle now.
Yeah, look, I felt we were a bit unlucky. Talking to someone from Maitland earlier, we drew each other. 2 good football teams. Yeah, mate, the cup, the club's very similar-minded to myself. You know what I think of the cup. It's bigger than the league. It's the players have a great time. They feel like a professional for a couple of days. So yeah, massive. That is just. I've been the coach of some late wins, but I don't think we've actually done a couple here before. But that takes a cake.
We'll go and celebrate with the guys, mate. That's what it's all about. Really pleased for you and a very disappointed Maitland side.
Yeah, no, look, credit to them. That's a harsh thing to happen in football, but hey, you got to enjoy them when you're on the right side of them, because the next one's on the wrong side's coming. So, no, fantastic effort for them. Great night, great game.
Was a great game. Congratulations and good luck on the next step. Awesome.
Also, keep doing what you're doing on the sidelines, mate. Everyone's loving it.
Right. Thanks back up to you, Bart, with a very excited head coach Damien Zane of Broadmeadow Magic. And look at these guys. We love what's going on here at the moment. if we've got a second to stay with while you wrap up, we'll see if we can get ourselves in the goal mouth, because we can. But the next game for Broadmeadow Magic will be a very interesting one for the Newcastle and Hunter faithful. All right, just been invited into the photo. Why not? Yeah, why not? Why wouldn't we? Love it over here, Bart. And you can just, if you can't hear it, you can feel the energy in this group, and aren't they loving it right over here? But I'll just finish it off going to you, because I can't hear you. I can't hear a whole lot at the moment.
Thanks, CT. What an absolute ripping night for Broadmeadow Magic. Devastation. Our hearts go out to Maitland fans and players, coaching staff. That is as tough as it gets. 1-0 up, 1 foot in the round of 32. They concede a stoppage time penalty. Damon Green converts it. And then Will Ingram, with his first goal for Broadmeadow Magic, wins it from Broadmeadow Magic. And if you think back, 3 years ago, Maitland produced the miracle goal to go through to the grand final. Tonight, it's Broadmeadow Magic with the miracle to go through to the round of 32 of the Australia Cup. It is just amazing how sport can transform and how results can change so quickly, and we have got a first-hand account of that tonight. It is Broadmeadow Magic through to the Australia Cup round of 32 for a 6th time. That is the best of any side in northern New South Wales. Damien Zane through for a 6th time as well. 4 with Edgeworth, 2 with Magic, and the draw next week on a Wednesday. You can catch that on 10 Play and also the MyFootball YouTube and also Australia Cup Facebook page. So enjoy that next week. Hope you enjoyed our coverage. Don't forget you can catch Cooks Hill and Olympic. That is live on Bar TV Sports right now. But from Cook Square Park, Broadmeadow Magic win it 2-1 against Maitland.